Now let's move to lesson number three, ethical issues in marketing research. In marketing research, ethics involves determining whether actions are morally right or wrong, considering both the permissibility of the action itself and its potential impact on those involved. So this encompasses a set of principles that guide research practices, ensuring fairness, respect, and accountability in the pursuit of consumer insights. Key ethical considerations in marketing research are respect for persons, recognizing the autonomy of participants and protecting those with diminished autonomy, beneficence, maximizing the benefits of the research while minimizing potential harm to the participants, justice, ensuring fair and equitable treatment of all participants, including the distribution of research benefits and burdens, informed consent, obtaining voluntary and informed consent from participants, ensuring that they are fully aware of the research purpose, data usage, and extent of their participation, privacy and data protection, safeguarding participants' personal information, and complying with data protection laws through anonymization and confidentiality measures, honesty and transparency, being transparent about the research purpose, researcher identity, and potential conflicts of interest, avoiding deceptive practices, integrity, maintaining honesty, transparency, and accountability throughout the research process, avoiding discrimination, ensuring that the research data is not used to make decisions that unfairly impact or discriminate against particular groups based on demographics, voluntary participation, ensuring that participation in research is voluntary and that participants have the freedom to refuse answering any questions or to withdraw participation at any point, and confidentiality. Researchers must not use collected data in a manner that violates participants' privacy, such as by sharing it with third parties without the proper consent. While ethical views vary, universally accepted ethical principles and legal standards provide a foundation for behavior. These standards should guide our actions to ensure responsible and ethical conduct, even when faced with differing opinions. Adhering to these accepted norms promotes fairness, respect, and integrity in all interactions. Ethical issues in marketing research revolve around ensuring that research practices are fair, honest, and respectful of the participants. Key considerations include obtaining informed consent, protecting privacy and data, avoiding deceptive practices, and ensuring transparency about the research's purpose and potential conflicts of interest. Researchers must also be mindful of vulnerable groups and avoid biased or leading questions. During the data collection stage, issues in marketing research include privacy of data, willingness and voluntariness of respondents, and proper handling of interviews and observations. After data collection, issues that might arise include proper statistical application and the privacy of respondents when the findings are already been made public. The European Society for Opinion and Marketing Research, or SMR, and the International Chamber of Commerce have set a standard for ethical research. So these standards rest on three fundamental principles. The first one, transparency is key when collecting personal data. Researchers have a responsibility to clearly inform participants about what data will be collected. These are the specific types of information they intend to gather, why the data is being collected, the purpose and objectives of the research, who will have access to the data, any third parties with whom the data might be shared, and fourth, how the data will be used and stored, the form in which the data will be kept, and for how long this will be kept. This transparency builds trust with participants, allowing them to make informed decisions about whether or not to take participation in the research. Protecting personal data is paramount in ethical marketing research. Researchers must implement robust security measures to prevent unauthorized access and ensure confidentiality. Data should only be disclosed with the explicit consent of the participant. Moreover, researchers have a broader ethical obligation to avoid any actions that could harm participants or damage the reputation of the research industry. This includes conducting research with integrity, avoiding deceptive practices, and respecting participants' rights and well being. Upholding these principles is important for maintaining trust and ensuring the responsible use of the data. In marketing research, handling personal information ethically is paramount. While this data informs business decisions, it's vital to remember that it belongs to the individuals who provided it. Respondents have a fundamental right to privacy, and researchers must respect this right by ensuring data is collected, used, and stored responsibly with appropriate safeguards in place to protect confidentiality and prevent misuse. Failing to respect privacy can erode trust and damage the integrity of the research process. Republic Act number 10173, also known as the Data Privacy Act of 2012, is a Philippine law that protects individual personal information in information and communication systems within the government and the private sector. Personal information is defined as any information, whether recorded or not, that can identify an individual either on its own or when combined with other information available to the entity holding the data. The law aims to protect the fundamental human right to privacy while ensuring the free flow of information to promote innovation and growth. The Data Privacy Act of 2012 mandates certain requirements for businesses and organizations that collect, process, and store or use personal data in the Philippines. So, this includes implementing appropriate data collection measures and safeguarding individual rights. The Data Privacy Act significantly impacts marketing research. It mandates obtaining explicit consent before collecting any personal information. Researchers can no longer collect data without first informing individuals about how their data will be used and getting their permission. This means no more surprise or ambush data collection tactics. Transparency and informed consent are now legal requirements. High quality research data is important for drawing meaningful conclusions. Data quality hinges on two key factors: validity and reliability. Valid data accurately measures the intended concepts, while reliable data produces consistent results across multiple tests or measurements. When data is both valid and reliable and directly addresses the research problem, it forms a strong foundation for sound decision making. Data falling below these measures may be considered low quality, and we cannot use them in our analysis. Quality data are specific to the problems at hand, and their source is near the population we intend to use as a sample. One way to assess data quality is to check for consistency in respondents' answers. By including similar questions phrased differently throughout a survey, you can identify potential inconsistencies that may indicate a respondent isn't providing thoughtful or truthful answers. Suggesting potential data quality issues, this helps ensure respondents are engaged and providing reliable information. In marketing research, the characteristics of your respondents are important. The credibility and honesty of participants directly impact the reliability of your data. If you have a reason to doubt the truthfulness or knowledge of your respondents, the validity and usefulness of the data will be compromised, undermining the research findings. Careful selection and screening of respondents are essential for ensuring data quality. Research errors are flaws or mistakes that occur during any stage of the research process, from defining the problem to collecting and analyzing data. These errors can undermine the validity and reliability of the findings. Depending on the type of research conducted, these errors are classified into two types: quantitative errors and qualitative errors. Example of quantitative research errors. A company wants to gauge customer satisfaction with a new product using a quantitative survey. Here are some examples of potential errors that could arise. Population specific error. The company surveys only existing customers who purchased the product online, missing out on the opinions of customers who bought it in physical stores. So this leads to an inaccurate representation of overall customer satisfaction. Next, sampling error. The company randomly selects 100 customers to survey, but by chance, the sample includes a disproportionate number of early adopters who are more enthusiastic about new products than the average customer. So these could skew the results positively. For example, one study showed that smoking prevalence varied from 37.5% to 62.5% when based on a small sample size. Selection error. The survey is distributed online, and only customers who are highly satisfied or extremely dissatisfied choose to respond, creating a biased sample. So those with moderate opinions don't bother to participate. Non-response error. A significant portion of the selected customers don't respond to the survey, and those who do respond have different characteristics or opinions than those who didn't uh, uh, respond, leading to skewed results. Surrogate information error. So instead of directly asking about customer satisfaction, the survey asks about the likelihood of recommending the product to others, assuming it's a direct indicator of satisfaction. However, customers may recommend a product for reasons other than their own satisfaction. Measurement error. The survey questions are poorly worded, leading to confusion or biased responses. For example, a question might be leading or ambiguous, causing respondents to answer in a way that doesn't reflect their true feelings. Experimental error. If the company is conducting an experiment, such as comparing two different versions of a product, there may be an experiment drift. This occurs if those administering the study slowly depart from using standardized procedure in identifiable ways. Examples of qualitative research errors. Let's say a researcher is conducting focus groups to understand consumer perceptions of a new eco friendly cleaning product. Here's how some qualitative research errors might manifest. Selective observation. The researcher focuses only on comments that support their pre existing belief that consumers are highly concerned about environmental issues, ignoring dissenting opinions or concerns about price and effectiveness. The researcher misinterprets a participant's facial expression as disgust when they were actually just deep in thought, causing inaccurate observation. After interviewing only 5 participants, all of whom are young urban professionals, this is overgeneralization. To strengthen their report, the researcher fabricates a quote from a participant that aligns with their desired conclusion. This is just fabricating or making up information. Ex post facto hypothesizing. After the focus groups are completed, the researcher develops a hypothesis about why some participants were hesitant to embrace the product. But the hypothesis is based solely on anecdotal evidence from the focus groups and lacks any prior theoretical basis. Possible also is illogical reasoning. The researcher concludes that because some participants expressed concerns about the product's effectiveness, it must be a complete failure and will never be successful in the market.